Oh, so I was saying all that for you only, basically. Okay, all right. Well, I don't really want to say all that again. Well, what I was saying was this is going to be a little bit like Deja Vu because we're going to be building another 3080 rig in the Antec DP310, also known as the Dark Phantom. So yeah, I don't know what happened there. The other mic was on, but it wasn't paired with the receiver. So got a wireless mic system here. It's a little bit weird that it wasn't paired, but normally I just turn it on and it pairs automatically. Oh no, that wasn't turned on, was it?
No, when you turned yours on, mine wasn't.
Yeah, that's what it was. That's what it was. Anyway, back to the build. So this build here tonight is with a Ryzen 5900X. So we've got the big boy here tonight. We're going to be putting it on a Asus Prime B550 Wi-Fi motherboard. And the star of the show, obviously, is our ROG Strix RTX 3080. So this is definitely one of the most desirable 3080 cards. We've also got 16 gigabytes of G-Skill Ripjaws 3200 megahertz CL. Oh, sorry, no, this is 3600 megahertz CL18 memory. We've also got a Crucial P1 NVMe SSD, and we've got a 1 terabyte hard drive here as well. We've got a 240mm all-in-one liquid cooler. This is the Deepcool Castle V2 RGB liquid cooler. We have a Gigabyte P850 GM 80 plus gold rated power supply, so 850 watts, puts out 849.6 watts on the 12 volt rail. And as I said, our case here is the Antec DP310, also known as the Dark Phantom. And yeah, so hi everyone, hi Chris, Jared, Rodney, good to have you here. So let's have a look at this motherboard. So the Asus Prime B550-A Wi-Fi, that's the full name. Big cat. Yeah, he not be interested in any of your shit right now. But he had some KFC earlier, so.
Yes, he did. He loves that.
Alright, let's see what we get. So obviously we get our Wi-Fi antenna. Also get a standard I/O shield, some SATA cables, and our M2 screws and offsets. And this is the motherboard. Alrighty, so this is what we get. So we'll start from around here and we'll go over this motherboard and I'll point out the main features of the board. So starting up here, we've got an 8-pin CPU power connection. Obviously powers our CPU and everything around it here. So we've got a direct touch heatsink here on our MOSFET VRM, which is good. Nothing on the co-processors here, but that's not going to be too much of a problem. We've got these two fan headers up here. We've got one that's designated for the CPU, one that's designated as a CPU optional. We've got a 12 volt RGB header up here. Nothing else around here. We've got our 24 pin ATX power down here and USB 3 there. We've got obviously our dual channel memory, so 4 slots, 2 channels. And on this Asus board you'll see they've even got the slots paired. So these two, you'll notice that they're two slightly different colours. So these two that are two different colours here, that's a channel. And these two over here that are two different colours, that's another channel. And so it's colour coded so that when you put it in, you know that you put them in the same color. So you've actually got one slot in channel 1 and one slot in channel 2, because the CPU can talk to both channels at the same time. So it's important that you do that. You don't put them in the same 2 slots next to each other. If you've got all 4 sticks, obviously, just put all 4 in. Nice and easy. You don't have to think about it. But if you've only got 2, you've got to consider which ones. In this board here, it actually designates which 2 to use first, and it's these light grey ones which we'll be using tonight. And you always find the memory right up here with the CPU, because memory and CPU are intimately related. So there's a little bit of memory on CPUs, it's called cache, and if the CPU can't find what it's looking for in the cache, the next place it goes to is the memory. And whenever we load a program, and whenever we boot Windows or do any of that kind of stuff, we're taking it from the SSD or the hard drive usually, and it's being loaded. And where's it being loaded to? It's being loaded to the system memory, because once it's there, the CPU has fast access to all that stuff. So memory, got our obviously 24-pin ATX USB 3. Then down here we've got 4 vertically orientated SATA ports. We've got 2 little pins up here. This is our clear CMOS setup. Then down here we've got 4 pins above here, which is for the debug speaker header, the little bip when you turn your computer on. You don't have to install that speaker, it is optional. We've got our front panel connections here, 2 USB 2.0 headers, another fan header down here, another 12 volt RGB header plus a 5 volt RGB header. Then we've got a comport debug header. Got a Sony Philips digital interface header, these 3 square pins, not to be confused with the smaller round pins of the 5 volt header. And then we obviously have our front panel audio connections here for our speaker and microphone jacks on the case. And around here is our audio. So we've got these little gold coloured capacitors, these audio capacitors here. They're insulated. We always try to keep the audio all together in the one part of the motherboard down here. And that's why you'll see the audio in the rear I/O down this side as well. Then we've got gigabit Ethernet, 6 USB 3.2s it looks like. Then we've got our Wi-Fi 5 and Bluetooth 4.2, I think this is. Oh, we've got a sticker out here, does it tell me? No, this is Wi-Fi 6 and Bluetooth 5.1. Excellent.
Sweet.
Happy days. Then we've got a HDMI, DVI and VGA here, so none of these will be in use with this build. So 5950X doesn't have onboard graphics, so you can't actually use these at all with this CPU installed. We've got obviously our PS2 port here for our old school keyboard and mice. And then around in the center here, this is the only stuff we haven't talked about. Got our battery here for our CMOS. That's what these 2 pins that clears the data that this battery enables. Let me start that one again. These little pins here clear the data that this battery remembers, essentially. So then we've got another fan header here, so that is a total of 4 fan headers on this board. So we've got a total of 6 fans going in here? Something like that. Anyway, we've got our trusted platform module header here, that's the thing for Windows 11. We've got our 2 M2 slots here, we'll install the screws and offsets for both of them. We've got our X16 PCIe slot here, and we've got 2 X1 slots down here as well. And that is all of the main features of this motherboard. So we can start probably with those M2 screws, I reckon. I've got 2 of them I've got to put in. Get them out of the way. We don't actually need 2 M2 screws here. We only need 1 at the moment, but we're going to install both of them just in case the customer wants to install an additional M2 drive. So I'm going to allow for this top slot to be free, just so it's really easy to add another M2 drive if you want. Because this bottom slot here, this will be covered up by the graphics card. So if we put Windows on that one have to.
Close that.
Oh, it's keeping my feet cool. Hey man, how you going? So I don't butcher your name. How do I say your name? I don't want to butcher your name, man.
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty. So where is my screwdriver? Is in my jeans because of that in-home repair I did just before. Alright, throw this crap out of my pockets. Chuck that screw in there. And we'll install our M2 drive. There we go. So we got that installed. We're not even going to see that when the graphics card's installed. It's going to completely cover up. Actually, it's going to completely cover up all three of those slots. Naaven. Excellent. Yeah, so this is Naaven's computer. Excellent. I feel better about that instead of like, yeah. I don't like sounding No, it's also a respect thing, right? Like,
You want to get someone's name wrong.
yeah.
It's really annoying.
He's living in Australia, so I'm pretty sure he's probably freaking cops it all the time. Like, let's be serious. Yeah, Australia's a bit of a cultural wasteland.
Yeah.
It's kind of not got much going for it. Alright. So we've got our memory installed, we've got our M2 drive installed. Let's get this CPU installed. So we don't get a included cooler with 5900X. Yeah. Ah, sweet. Alright, let's drop her in. eventually. There we go. Excellent. So we've got our board for the most part prepped. We don't need our box. We do need to get this cooler sorted. Alrighty. So if I remember right, I installed one of these last night. See, I can remember the previous day.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I remember seeing you touch one of these, one of the boxes.
Mm-hmm.
That is.
Yep. Yep, I remember crushing it.
The cat said me else too. He was mortified.
Yeah, I don't know why he doesn't seem to like me crushing boxes. Maybe he thinks boxes are his friends or something, I don't know. Alrighty. So for this one, because I did it last night, I should remember. We need to remove get rid of that. We don't need the included mounting brackets, which is kind of a shame because it's really easy to mount that. So like AMD make it like really easy to put the cooler on, or they make it really hard. Okay. So we've got those 4 screws we need to prep the pump block. We don't need Threadripper screws. Can you imagine having a Threadripper only putting a 240mm all-in-one liquid cooler on it? So you've got the $3,000 Threadripper CPU and you put it on the motherboard. And then you get like a mid-priced 240mm all-in-one liquid cooler on it that won't even cover the whole chip because the Threadripper chip's so big. I'm just trying to like picture that. I certainly wouldn't recommend it to anyone, and I haven't had anyone ask me to build that. Yeah, man. Yep. Absolutely. Like I've suggested this to like a few of my friends. Like, man, get a gaming PC. You know how many different games that you can download for PC? Like, you can occupy a shitload of your time. Like, a friend just like got one just so he'd drink less. He broke up with his wife and he's just like, yeah, I just end up drinking more. And getting a gaming PC has meant that he's not spending as much money on piss. So, you know, it can work out. It can work out good. It can actually be something that saves you money in the long run. So we'll just get this AMD plate on here. Got pre-applied thermal compound on this cooler, so that's kind of cool. It's one less thing you have to worry about. And like, I'm sure my Arctic Silver is a little bit better, but like, you know, when I say it's like a little bit better, I mean like it might run like half a degree cooler. So it's not like oh, it's gonna be like, you know, 10% better with like better thermal paste. No, you're talking tiny differences. Okay. So I just do opposite corner first. Once you got them down, you can just take your hand away and screw down the others. Go. There's a nice firm mount. The only thing you might want to do when you do this is just make sure these cables here are like tucked underneath the legs of it, so they're concealed and they're not sticking out at an awkward angle, because this will do wonders to make your build a lot neater in the end. It's easy to get your PC and just be like a bull at the gate going, oh, like put it together as fast as possible, but then trust me, you'll regret it, especially like you might even go, I don't even care about cable management and stuff like that, I'm old school. But you'll have this case with this, you know, freaking clear side panel, and I guarantee it's just a matter of time before it pisses you off. So you want to make sure it's neat. And doing little things like that is making it neat. As I've shown time and time again, the back side of the case, they give you all that room for cable management, so you don't have to tie it all down with 10 million zip ties. So you just want to keep things ordered and stuff like that, but it can look a little bit messy. That's why there's a back panel on it, you know. Okay, So, what have we got? So, I think we had... I was going through a breakup and then I realised I was drinking too much and I was doing drugs, which isn't good, and I started lifting and playing games. Always helped me a lot, apart from hanging out with your mates as well. Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. So, man, I think I might actually be short on fan steels. I think I got like 2 out of 3. 2 out of 3 ain't bad.
Oh.
No, what? So okay. So what we're gonna do? It's meant to have 3. So we're gonna put 2 on the front here, like normal, and then we're just not gonna swap this back one for now, and then we'll swap it. We'll swap that out before we ship it off. Yeah. Hey Jason, how you going? What's that? I was going to put these fans on the radiator, but I've already got 2 fans for that. Yep, yeah, exactly.
Give us a few bars.
I don't know.
I don't think you really want him to do that.
Or do they? I can sing Meatloaf all right. He doesn't have a high. He doesn't do highs. He just sings real loud. I probably can't sing as loud as Meatloaf.
I vacuumed to get better.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you something about that, right? So, I think everyone's probably familiar with, like, The Lion King. So, you know that bit at the start, they sing that song, and it's like in Afrikaans or one of the African languages, and they there's like a what would you call it? Where there's like people in the background singing a line. Anyway, one of the strategies if you want to sing that Lion King song is, instead of trying to get the actual words right in African, you can just sing "Pink Pajamas, Penguins in Bahamas" instead of I don't know the actual words. But seriously, you can just sing whatever words you want as long as it sounds in tune. It's going to sound fine. See, the thing about it is, as well, is there is like a big portion of people who just like can't really understand the lyrics that people sing anyway. So when you've got that factor as well, you can kind of just like make things up, and as long as it sounds, 80% actual thing, you can get away with it. Yeah. Family Guy touch on that as well with Carter singing "Walk Like an Egyptian."
It's just so good. It's bad, but it's so funny.
It's good.
It's almost like such an old person thing to do, but like we all do similar things. He's just making up words that sound like it.
Yeah.
He doesn't.
But it's a commentary on people are so shit at listening to the lyrics and songs, and to the point where people actually believe completely wrong lyrics to songs.
Yeah, I remember you having a fight with one of your friends.
Yep.
Certain lyrics to the song.
Yep.
I knew
like,
you were right.
I'm like, seriously, man, seriously, like freaking bar like 168. He changes what he says from the previous pattern that was observed in the previous bars leading up to it. It's a techno song. Alrighty, so our pump is on our cooler. Let me just adjust these pipes a little bit. Be mounted something like this in the case. So, like that. And then we'll have a fan on the back and a couple on the front. So now let's get onto our power supply. So, that bit of plastic on the bottom was like a thick bit. More of the material was like, yeah. You know, sometimes the plastic's not consistent.
It's annoying.
Yeah. Alrighty, so here it is. Oh.
Tim? At what temp do the fans start spinning on the other side of 36 when you've been playing older games, not spinning in the chins?
So that what temp it starts spinning at, that depends how it's tuned. It's a setting that can be adjusted. So you can adjust your graphics card fan speed with apps like MSI Afterburner. I install it on all the PCs that I build. So you can get that. It doesn't matter what your brand of motherboard is or what CPU or graphics card you have. MSI Afterburner works with all of them. It's kind of like an unofficial industry standard. Big ass fan. This one here, well, I mean, this is your 850 watt power supply. So that one. That one. Rolex.
Has it got sticky on it? No. It's got like baby finger marks already.
So we'll be installing these cables here, and we've got some other cables here that we don't need. We might even still. How much room have we got down there? Oh yeah, we've got plenty of room. We might actually install them, but just keep them tied up with the other excess cables. Jason's like, I've seen bigger. Yeah, well, you can get 200mm diameter fans for PCs and bigger. But the 200s is like sort of the biggest sort of kind of standard size. No, they're 140s in mine. Yeah. You know that Thermaltake Commander?
Oh yeah.
It's got those two massive fans at the front. They're 200mm fans.
Like a doozy face.
Yeah, well, think of it, 20 centimeters is the diameter of the fan. So when you're talking fans, when the diameter goes up, the size of the fan goes up like bigger than the diameter. I'm not going to give you a maths lesson, but yeah, that's just the function of pi and all that. But basically, a 200mm fan is equivalent to, two 120mm fans. That adds up to 240, but a 200mm fan would be equivalent to like 3 120s almost. But the reason why you might want to go with bigger fans, this is the main reason why you want to do it, is because they move more air at slower RPM. So you can run the fan slower and quieter than smaller fans and still move the same volume of air. So, like for example, on my case, I've got a big like EATX case, and I've got 140mm fans on mine. So I've still got a 360mm radiator, but that's not mounted. That's like side mounted within the case. It's not in the front or the rear or the top. All right, so a whole heap of cables to plug in here. So on modular power supplies, they give you cables that you actually have to plug in. So it gives you a bit of flexibility, but it also adds a little bit of extra work to it. But the advantage is you don't have to plug in any more cables than what you need, and you could keep the others in a box and not install them. But I will actually install like all of these cables, I think. But we'll just install these main ones first. So this is the first one here is our 24-pin ATX for our power supply. And this next one will be for our motherboard and CPU. Oh, don't want to plug it in that way. These cables are directional, so you want to make sure you plug them in the right way. This is a spare PCIe cables for our graphics card. 1 and 2. And we've got SATA and Molex now. And we have a additional CPU power cable, which we won't be using, but we'll just plug it in anyway, just in case Naaven wants to upgrade his motherboard at some stage. Yeah.
Which Jason says with Tim doing the install, you can guarantee it's going to be right the first time.
Thanks, man. Except when what was that one? What was that thing with old mate's computer?
That's very descriptive too.
The thing. You know. With the stuff. Alright. So I'll leave this one SATA cable free. And then the rest of them, I'm going to tie them down. I can get this zip tie around it. I won't have to cut it. This maybe. No, that's not gonna. That's just not gonna happen. That's an even smaller zip tie. Even this one's giving me a bit of grief. No, that's the clicky sound of success. And because these are thin, we're going to have an auxiliary one. Alright, so now we've separated the cables that we don't need from the cables that we do need. So now we can think about getting all this stuff in the case sorted. Alrighty. Have a hard drive tray, semi-toolless. Here is our 1 TB hard drive. I remember, like, when they moved to the 3.5-inch form factor for hard drives, like, and they were like a little, used to be a bit bigger than this. I used to think, wow, so high tech. Yeah, we've got those.
Tim,
Yeah.
Maxwell says I wish I could build a PC. And if I can do it, you can do it.
Anyone can build a PC. It's just, do you want to spend the time building a PC? Yeah, like, you know, I build PCs for like everyone, right? I build PCs for people who can build their own PCs, but they get me to build their PC. And that's just because either they can't be bothered researching all the parts, have been out of the loop for a few years, or they just don't have time, or they know a fair bit, but they just rather have someone just do it because they've done it before and they've had bad experiences.
On the stream and I don't have to go looking for it.
Yeah. Yep. No. Well, that's one of the advantages, right?
Jason says to me, make it easy.
Yeah. No. It is.
He does.
It is a little bit.
It's a lot of fucking around.
Yeah. It is. Like mounting this power supply here is going to be like kind of hard. So in this particular case, yeah,
Peace of mind with you.
yeah, and that's the thing. Like, you know, you buy a PC from me, and you know you get like ongoing support and stuff like that. You know, you have a problem with it, you can bring it back, and like even if it's outside of warranty and stuff like that, you know, I'll at least look at it for you. If I built it, I'll at least look at it for you and tell you what's wrong with it. Outside of warranty or whatever, I won't charge you to tell you what's wrong with it. So, you know, I'll get you a good price on a repair and stuff. It's outside of warranty and all that. But yeah, that's the kind of peace of mind that you pay for. I mean, Harvey Norman and stuff, they charge people like $700 for extra aftercare
What?
for a computer. Yeah, including technical support. Yeah,
Shut that.
yeah.
I'm sorry for that.
Jeez. Just pay me $600 and something profit for every computer and I'll be very, very happy. Very, very happy. Alright, so we've got our power supply in there. We've got all of our cables relatively managed here. Bit of a tight squeeze there, but we got all of them in. We've got this one loose SATA cable that we can go and plug into our hard drive. Wrong way. There we go. So our hard drive's powered. We've got all these other cables here. Actually, I'm gonna put an RGB fan on the back here. Actually, even though it'll be a little bit like not so uniform. But the point is, once I get the cooler installed here, I'm not gonna have much room up the top here to get it this hole that my fingers are poking through. So if I get all of the stuff that I need to do in this top corner out of the way now, it's probably going to work in my favour later in the game. I mean, I think on the quote, I think we only had 3 fans here. So what I can do is I can move this fan over to the front, but right down the bottom where you can't really see it properly because it's like shielded by that. And then you can still have 3 on the front and 3 exhausting hot air out the back. So we'll just put that one down there for now. And we're just going to pop off this front panel. It's easier from the bottom here. And we can see we've got a solid piece of PCB up here for all of our front panel connections. The USB 3 pieces, although they're like plastic plugs, they do go through the PCB there. So I'd be looking for a replacement of this whole assembly for the other one, as opposed to putting through a warranty claim for a new case. So I'm hoping with the place I bought the case from, they will have some spare parts laying around that we could utilise.
Nice and slim solid build if I would work. Oh, I do.
Yeah. Yep. We've all been there. All been there. And COVID, all this stuff just makes it harder. Okay, so let's get this first fan. This first one back on. They were really hard to screw back in. And so as we can see, we've got that non-RGB fan sort of right down the bottom there, where from within inside the case, it's not even going to be very noticeable. We could put it like you could put an RGB fan down there, but it doesn't really add too much extra brightness to the case. And because of this front panel, you don't really see too much either. So it's not a big sacrifice. So alrighty. So now for our RGB fans. So RGB fans have two separate lots of cables that you have to deal with. So you don't just have the power for the fan motor, but you have the power for the lights. And believe it or not, I know it might sound silly if you watch me do this all the time and you see me, separately plug in fans and RGB, but it is one of the most common technical support queries that I get about RGB from amateur system builders who just call me up because they're having a problem. They haven't played with RGB before, and they just assume that the other connector is a connector that they don't need. Some new thing that's not important. They know the one that they're familiar with, and they don't plug in the other one. They don't even think that they need to plug in that. And so I usually just try and save them a lot of trouble and tell them how to solve their problem. I could just take their money, but the thing is, half the time I'll tell them how to do it and they'll still bring it to me anyway, so I'm not too concerned about, you know, losing sales or any of that kind of thing. Usually if it's overwhelmed them and confused them at that point, they're just like, nah, I've wasted too much time, I'm bringing it to you, you fix it for me please. And so there we go. So we'll just put these two on the front here now, for now. And then we can install the third one up here, nice and easily. And this one here can go out the back here. Yeah.
So I've got a medical problem. I can't lift more than 5 kilos.
Oh,
That's
fuck.
fucked, man.
5 kilo weight limit.
I've been there. I know what that's like.
Yeah.
Jesus, you're here.
Do they still make you like apply for jobs with the 5 kilo weight limit medical restriction? Like, do they actually make you go and do that?
Probably. Like, they do that sort of shit to my dad, and he's like old as fuck.
Yeah, but your dad's not like on a disability. He doesn't have like a proper like disability. I just hope they're not making him go in and apply for jobs with.
Maxwell says shit.
Yeah, okay, they make you apply for jobs.
He says he just wants a PC that he can do streaming gaming on.
Yeah.
He says I just don't, but I have applied to be a delivery driver.
He's got a 5 kilo weight limit, which essentially most employers see 5 kilo weight limit, even if it's a job like delivery driver, and they just go, nah, sorry, too much headache.
You could do like food though, or you could do like something. Like
But no, but think about it. They might need you to pick up a box.
Yeah.
Like, and the employer's just going to be like, nah, we're not going to hire someone with a medical condition. It's like, it's fucked, man.
bulging disc.
Yep.
Ouch.
That would be fucking painful. Alright. So we've got those fans in place, at least what we're going to do for now. So I'll close up the front. So we've got all our cables and fans in place now, so we might turn our attention to the motherboard. And I only have 2 offsets to install.
I know it's kind of a shit job with maybe checkouts of like movies or GE or something.
Yeah. But even then, you might have to lift a 24-pack of Pepsi for an older
No,
customer.
you're not. Well, I was put on light duties.
Yeah, but
and-
light duties, you're an existing employee.
But still, you can just get somebody else to lift it for them.
Yeah, but
And usually the oldies don't buy that sort of thing. If you're like that restricted, they can put you on
Coles.
SCOs and stuff.
take it for someone who was a manager at Coles many, many years ago, that that's not how Coles HR and employment sees it. The fact that they give you light duties as an existing team member is totally separate to whether
Yeah,
they'd
but
offer someone a
They
job.
do have this thing where they like employ people with disabilities and all
That's
that sort
a
of thing.
totally different program, and it wouldn't be people. They're people with like usually mental disabilities or not people with bulge discs, basically. That's the shit part about Maxwell's situation. That's why he's in a crap space.
I'm just a nice person.
You're too nice. Corporations aren't very nice.
But even like a small grocer, maybe. Oh, I don't know. I'm just trying.
You're
I'm
too
trying to help.
nice. You're too nice. Too nice. Don't you think my wife's too nice?
Shut up.
Like I'm not being an asshole or anything. I'm just like I think anyone listening to me understands that I'm just like talking about reality here. That's what it's like. Employers see medical condition and they just go nah. Employers see that you're too old or something, they just go nah. You got the right size bolts in here. You should do.
Do you need an extra employee, Tim?
Do I need an extra employee?
Tim's like,
I don't have
No.
I don't have a place of
No.
like I don't have a place for you to come to be employed.
no. I'm that employee.
The only thing I got is Christine. At this stage, who knows what will happen in the future, but at this stage it's just me and Christine.
Jesus, she's too nice. This is so cool. Reality.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I know.
This is probably too far for me.
Yeah, probably. No, well, the dream would be to find a long-term commercial tenancy where I could convert part of it into a residence, so I could live where I work.
That would be
I
awesome.
don't care about I don't care about living in a particular suburb or at a particular address or anything like that. I don't.
I actually kind of like the thought of living in this, like, a business district because, there's no fucking neighbours.
Yeah. But
Maybe
one
neighbours are
thing
fucking
that
businesses.
you won't like. Do you know what goes on in industrial estates at night?
Oh, burnouts.
Yeah.
I'm pretty used to it now, I guess.
You've lived in Ipswich.
Yeah. That was bad enough.
The Thursday night, the lappers.
God.
The lappers
I'd
in
be
Ipswich.
trying to go home and I'd like go through like the middle of Ipswich and I'm on my own and I'd have like people yelling out at me like dudes hanging out their fucking car. No. Does that ever work? When does that ever work? Please tell me that's working.
No, that doesn't. Didn't what's that band? What's that R&B group? TLC. Didn't they do a song about that?
It's No Scrub.
Yeah, I don't
That's
want
my
that.
favourite song.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Okay, so we got our motherboard in the case here. Yeah. Yeah. They literally will just see injury, medical restriction. No, that's, yeah. It's that simple, man. It's like it comes from the top down. This is what we're told. We're not to hire anyone like this. Okay. Yes, boss. Yeah.
What do you stream on?
What? Yeah. And what do you stream?
Splitgate.
Don't think I'm immediately familiar with that. I'm just so used to everyone going, yeah, Call of Duty and Fortnite.
Plays COD, Splitgate, Minecraft. It's got
Yep.
over 200 games. You can stream
Over 200
PS4.
games.
Nice.
That is a solid game library, man.
Yes.
Trust me, most people only have like under 10 games.
Yeah. Hats off to you, bro.
Yep. Like I consider myself to have a decent library of games, having like 25 or so titles.
Tim thought he was cool.
Yeah.
Well, he's not.
No, I didn't. No, I didn't think I was special. I was just like I thought I had like a decent collection of PC games. But see, I never get any time to play. That's the thing, running your own business.
Oh, cool.
You got to be motivated to go out there and like actually earn your money.
See? Next one is on Call of Duty clan. Now clan is sponsored and sponsored separately as well.
Oh, sweet. Hey babe, do you reckon you could hold the cooler for me? I'm just trying to feed through. The one thing about this, they give you really short cables, which is like a blessing and a curse. Is that all four? 6 total?
Yep.
Yep, sweet. I drink energy drinks. %of my fluid intake is energy drinks and iced coffee. I don't drink alcohol, but I drink energy drinks and iced coffee.
No one seems to have less than 5 games.
Yeah, and that's normal.
When I was
That's
younger, I had probably over 400 PS2, PS3 games.
oh wow, you had a solid old school library going on. Yeah, nice. But like, you know, oh, you go to EB Games right these days, and there's like no one in there and stuff. You know, it's the end of an era with consoles, I think.
So,
Yeah.
Richard says, hi, peoples.
Hey Richard, how you going? Bit of Sunday night 30-80 action here.
So, Maxwell says, you know what sucks the most on 19?
Oh well, let's flip the script on that. Sucks because you're 19. Yeah, being 19 sucks. There's like, you get discriminated against for being young. You get all sorts of bullshit, but it gets better. So don't stress. You're 19. You got an injury. You'll probably be able to heal and get better over time. So
Try and see a physio. That's
I'm sure he's getting medical treatment of sorts from someone. But yeah, you definitely want to get treatment because, like, yeah, these sort of injuries will heal eventually. How'd you injure yourself? Was it car accident, sports injury, other outdoor injury?
Tim.
Yeah.
Maxwell says ROG Energy is good. That's who he's sponsored by. I don't think I've ever heard of ROG Energy. Maybe I should check that out. He says that he keeps the figures. The cookies and cream milkshake and the grape ones amazing. Great.
Grape flavored energy drink. Now
Had me.
that speaks to me.
Mm-hmm.
See, I'm digging the V raspberry lemonade ones. I've been digging them. It's pretty freaking good.
I'm awaiting the surgery. So much that thing than I should because that was the biggest
Yep. Yeah, man. The expression, yeah, the expression we usually use is like, is young and full of cum. You're young and you're just like, yeah, man, I can lift it, you know, and you don't pay any mind because you're young and you always can lift things and you never hurt yourself. And then you find out you'll do something fucked up like this, and then you'll be like, oh shit, I'm never doing that again.
myself up when I was in my early 20s, twisted wrong, now my hip's not right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you should have got physio at the time, but you didn't.
I did, but I didn't get enough physio. They gave me like 3 sessions. And I couldn't pay for more because, you know, I was a teenager. Early 20s, didn't have much money. Yes. Helen says, bring your 19. What you worry about, this is good lesson for your future nice kids now.
Yeah.
Nowadays, idiots who say haven't feel hardship and half yet.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Like, it's one perspective that, yeah, I'm 19 and life sucks, but it's another perspective that, dude, it's definitely gonna take my word, it'll definitely get better. And yeah, what Naaven said as well, like 100%, you've learned a really good lesson really young, like moving and lifting things and stuff like that. We all do it and whatnot. Probably the best, if I was gonna give you any role models to look at when it comes to like human movement and stuff, I would get you to look at your average Chinese man. Your average Chinese man, very, very small stature compared to people in the West and all that. But you see these guys just unloading like a fully loaded truck, carton by carton, and loading them back up. But they do this all day, and they're like 50, 60 years old, and they're still doing it. And it's because they're just like the best at moving in the world. You can learn a lot just from watching how they lift things and how they go about moving. So I worked at a company that invested a lot of money into having really, really, really good, essentially just short of having actual physiotherapists employed by the company. That was pretty much where they were at. And yeah, we used to get training courses and stuff, and you know, this guy sort of called this out to us. He's like, people in China are some of the best movers in the world. They can move huge amounts of weight, and they do it safely and in a way that doesn't injure them.
So, Jason seems almost 30 when I go home lifting things I shouldn't, like when I've started to feel it.
Yeah. Yeah, but if you're 33 and you haven't hurt yourself and you're lifting things gun ho, you're probably already lifting it relatively good for your body, and you can handle the way that you're lifting it. Because usually by the time you're 32, you're going to have some sort of problem with something. Yeah.
That hard energy, they do heaps of different things. There's blue raspberry, cherry limeade, strawberry kiwi, caramel latte, cookies and cream, pink lemonade, grape popsicle, fruit punch, dragon fruit, mango, pineapple, strawberry lemonade, orange. There's actually a few things on.
So I'm assuming this is like an independent
Where are they based?
bottler that's making this. Or yeah, what's the deal? I used to work for a multi-billion-dollar multinational drinks company, so I know a thing or two about the old beverages.
Energy drink based.
US. Yep.
That's why there's so many different flavors.
Yeah. That'd be right. Like having that many flavors in energy, the energy category is, yeah, it's pretty epic. But you'd expect that from the US of A. But I mean, you've got Mountain Dew is such a big brand there that they have Mountain Dew energy drinks, multiple flavors of Mountain Dew energy drinks. It's like a whole product line. Yeah. What's that? He orders them into Australia. Yeah, sweet. How much a case, if you don't mind me asking? And are we talking and like how many cans to a case?
How many mils per can?
Yeah. Deets.
We want details.
Okay, so I'm not going to utilize that fan header there in the middle of the board. I'm just going to utilize this one here. Got this hub. It's unpowered though. No, actually, we are going to do something a bit different.
So
Yeah.
Max one says $33 a tub. It's the ones you make. But sometimes they're 30 servings and some are 40. Broke cups to go with that.
Oh, yep. Can you chuck me one of those fan controllers that's in the drawer there? So I'm going to use a powered 4-pin pulse width modulation fan controller here because we don't have that many fan headers. So what's all that crap that I just said mean? Well, basically it means that we can plug this cable here into the motherboard, and we can plug this cable here into our power supply, and then we can actually power 6 fans, and the speed can be controlled from the motherboard, and they're all going to have plenty of power. So these come with Leon Lee packs of fans, and I don't always need them in the build. So I've usually got a few spare ones around, and they're just for situations like this. Yeah.
Maxwell Thomas is
Yeah, that sounds
It
pretty
does.
pretty nice.
It's a bought a keyboard mouse from the console and use them with an adapter.
Yeah.
Pizza's hot and Christine. Hey Pete.
Hey Pete, how you going? Go. Oh. Double sided tape to stick down properly. Yeah.
Maxwell says if I was building a PC, it would be
Yeah. Alright, I'm just going to tear that cable all the way up. It's going in two different directions. Perfect. So we've got our 6-device fan controller plugged into the SATA power. Yeah. Oh, sweet, no sugar. No diabetes. The diabetes-free ones. That sounds good. I'd like to resist getting diabetes for as long as I can.
Supposedly they're the hydration line.
A hydration line.
Focuses on ingredients without the added caffeine.
Oh, okay. See, I've got a hydration line as well. It's like the tap in the bathroom. Alright, so we've got one more fan that we can hook up to our 6-fan device there. However, we're not done yet. We're going to need... Yeah. No worries, man. Have a good one. Should I overclock the CPU? 5900X. I don't think that's going to be necessary. Like, yeah, you'll see what I'm talking about. 5950 is just makes a mockery of everything, basically. It's almost like you run the benchmarks and you just like, okay, well that's just stupid sort of thing. What? Eat slugs.
Someone been fucked with?
I don't know.
Seems like
So.
Naaven says my PC will fit on your PC any day.
Oh yeah. Man, yeah. Like you could get a little bit more out of your 3080. Yeah, you see, you can get a bit more. You definitely get a bit more out of your 3080. So you could probably get maybe between 5 and 10% more FPS. But still, this is a 3080. So it's, like I said, it's just completely ridiculous. It just makes a mockery of the benchmarks and stuff. So I would say that it's not gonna, whether you overclock it or not gonna make a big difference. Yeah.
Schmo Show Gaming on Twitch says hello.
Hey, how you going?
Yeah, I kind of figured that after the second comment. Naaven says, oh no, he's my mate. I was like, hang on. It's what?
Alrighty. So we got that first RGB device hooked up. Here's my tape. So we're just going to tape this one up because I'm going to be adding another RGB fan. So that means I'm actually going to be unplugging this, plugging another fan in, and plugging this into the daisy chain from that other fan. And this one here, this is for our deep cool RGB, which is the same connection as 3-pin Corsair. So if you've got some of those Corsair strips, they'll fit on this connection. You might have to force them down a bit, but they will work. Don't tell Corsair I told you. I'm not going to mount that for now, just leave it loose there. And so now we've just got, what's that, front panel audio, front panel connections. Front panel audio can go down here. And front panel connections go up here. Okay, so what have we got? Oh yeah, I don't have the power LED. I hate power LED. So we've got USB 3 around there. We're going to need a SATA cable. So what do we do with the SATA cable? Go. Alrighty, we've got everything hooked up except for our graphics card. So we're going to be utilizing slots 2 and 3 here. So our RTX 3080 actually takes up 3 slots. Alrighty, here it is. RTX 3080 ROG Strix OC Edition. So you get the special ROG Strix keychain. And here is our very heavy graphics card.
There's so much sticky. You know what this thing needs?
What?
Some strips.
Some strips. Yeah, some strips look really good.
Staying already. Always the strips. Oh, it's a dark case.
Yeah, all dark cases can do with some strips. Always does a good job. Yes.
What's that case here?
So some people don't like to peel the sticky off, but you really have to on things like computer components, because a lot of the time things are designed to be like air cooled, and if you have all this stuff covering it, you actually hinder that ability. And it might only make a small difference on the surface, but it could make a bigger difference inside.
Sometimes it won't peel.
Yeah. And There's also protection on the
Do
back
you want me
panel.
to get it off the fans?
I'll do the fans.
There's a certain way you have to do it that makes it easy. So that thing is big.
Oh yeah.
And so she's a big card.
Yep. You can show it off to people.
It's got lots of ports on it.
Yep. 3 display ports, 2 HDMI ports. You can output to all 5 of them at once if you want. Okay, so to get this in the case, we're going to have to go up this way, then down this way, then across this way, and down into the slot.
And says everyone just got a sticky huge card.
Yes. It is huge.
I reckon that thing weighs over a kilo. Like it says, lots of sticky.
Yeah. Oh man.
Oh, don't you know? Oh geez, Tim,
What?
that's already laying on the graphics card box.
Really? Oh, he loves graphics card boxes. I don't know why, but he just loves them.
The fucking cable won't let me. He's laying in it. Can you get me a longer cable, Tim?
For the camera. Yeah. That can be arranged. Okay. So now we've got some power to plug in.
Tim,
Yeah.
there's a common prices in GPUs lately.
Yeah, so they've come down quite a lot, okay? So take this ROG Strix RTX 3080 that we've got here now. So these are already down to below $2,400, and they were up over $3,000 not so long ago. We've got these 3 connectors here. We'll just leave that there for now, and I'll tidy them up a bit more as we go. like sitting on a bolt.
No, it's not.
Stuck to the bottom of it.
It's not a bowl.
It was getting in the way. Okay, no USB-C, we've got USB 3.2 though. Yeah. Yep. So they've come down considerably. Some people still say that they haven't fully come down, but realistically they've come down. All right. So we're ready to give this a go? That looks like one very alive PC. Show me a post. I think it's posting. So why is it not detecting? What? So it's stuffing out on what I've hooked up, that fan controller. Yeah.
This PC grinder up. Maybe, man.
I don't know, man.
No one says looks really nice. It's Jason and Tony. Hey, Tony.
So we definitely have that CPU fan header occupied.
Tim.
Yeah.
Michelle also brings this time. This is blue. Tim's always tough.
Yeah. Somehow this seemed easier than going through the BIOS and turning off the CPU fan. Fail warning. However, it's turning out to be rather difficult. Can you reach that? Can you grab it? I'm definitely regretting not going through the BIOS now. You got it?
Okay, hang on. Ow.
Try and push it down. Let go.
I almost had it
I've got
through.
it. Yeah, I'm definitely regretting not doing that through the BIOS. Oh well, we're onto it now. Alrighty, let's get this all sorted. Yeah.
Jason says, so due to painful fingers tomorrow night stream will be happening at Tuesday.
So due to painful fingers, tomorrow night's stream won't be happening, but we'll be back next Tuesday. Huh? What? Maybe reference to putting the fans in? No, I'm used to that. Wish I had semi-flexible bones. That'd be pretty cool. Alrighty, let's plug in our hard drive now. Just like that. I hear a hard drive making a funny noise. Yeah, sweet. This is a beef. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a friendly joust at each other. Where's my SSD? Where's my SSD? Box cap. Yeah, show everyone. No, it's alright, you don't have to. Okay, let's start with the region.
Oh, fuck. You're a heavy cat. Why'd you do that?
We can plug in some internet now. And I'll go ahead and prep the old Wi-Fi antenna. That sounded sexually suggestive. I did not mean to do that. I'm literally talking about prepping an antenna. I was like, I could have said assembling, but that's no better. Yeah, no, I can do that. I can do things. Things and stuff. There we go. All I want from Asus is a magnet. Just a magnet. Just so it can stick on the side of the case, on the top of the case, there, wherever we've got a magnetic surface. And so we got Wi-Fi 6 here, so that's just ridiculous for Australia. No one needs more than like Wi-Fi 5 in Australia. Like, we could definitely do with it, but our internet's just not that good. Let's just get rid of all this crap we don't need. With these drivers. Just a second.
Alrighty, how's all this going? Stupid armory crate. Put down some custom desktop icons here and keep everything organized. Put Ryzen Master down there. You can do the one-click overclock with that if you want. No Cronus.
Well, man, hopefully, if all goes well, I'll send it to you tomorrow. Yeah, no worries. What's up? I'm not downloading any games. None of this stuff is games, man. This is all the software that comes with your computer. Windows is very unstable. Yeah, I just read your comment.
Alright, so look, Windows is stalled, which it will do sometimes, as you've probably seen here. So I have to do a hard reset. Alright, it's saved itself, which is good. But we're gonna have to wait for that final Windows update to go through. So I'll be back. Okay, looks like we are all done with that. Okay, so what installed? Looks like most of that stuff is installed. So if I go into Origin, does it work? Okay, let's just continue from where we left off. 21H1 is recovering. So yeah, I'll go through all this stuff with you in just a second once I've actually got it all set up. Oh, true. Alright. So Ryzen Master is for tuning your CPU. CPU ID pretty much does what the name says. Gives you all information about your CPU. Lets you run tests on it. Got hardware monitor. Tells you all of your voltages and temperatures and stuff of all of your components and that are hooked up to your system. Crucial storage executive. This is info on your SSD. Crystal disk info. This has information on your where are we? On your drives. It gives you health status, so you can see if anything's failing. A little bit warm there. Oh, I did it again. Sweet. It's nearly done. Alright, let's set up this 1 terabyte hard drive. There we go. Okay. Alrighty. So let's have a look at this beast. Let's also turn off all that crap that opens up when we start up the computer. Don't need. I think we can decide what games we want to play, what apps we want to open up when we turn our computer on. Alright. Okay, so what do these numbers mean? So this is a single core result. Obviously there was a Windows process running, that's why it's a little bit below the average, but you get the idea. It's the fastest gaming CPU in the world. It's faster than all these other options. Multi-thread. Once again, there was obviously a Windows process running in the background there. That's why it's a little bit lower than that. We could run this 10 times and get 10 different numbers. That's how this kind of works. Alright, let's set up our on-screen display here. Okay, Control F10, Control F11, and Control F12 to turn this overlay off. Okay, so let's have a look at some benchmarks. Okay, so this number here below RAM, this is how many frames a second it's running at. And then obviously you've got some temperatures and usage and stuff at the top there. As we can see, we're topping 400 in the opening scene here. Okay, so not looking too good here. There's just not enough clearance between the bottom of the card and the bottom of the case there. I tune the fans. Yeah. Nah. No deal. No deal. So we didn't get very far with that. Alrighty. Well, we have been screwed over by the particular layout of this motherboard. So, being a micro ATX board, having this in slots 2 and 3 in this case, means there's very little clearance between the bottom of the graphics card and the bottom of the case there. So, what I'm going to have to do is, Naaven's going to get a free case upgrade. So I guess that's pretty good for Naaven, but I might not be able to ship it out tomorrow. That's the thing. So based on just running that one benchmark, I can tell you it's not going to pass my stress test. So we really need to have a bit more clearance with that board. I just didn't notice when I bought it that it wasn't, the graphics card wasn't in positions 1 and 2, it was in 2 and 3. And because this is a 3 slot card, it's essentially got about 1 centimeter clearance between the bottom of the card and the bottom of the case. So that is going to be an issue. So I would never ship this to a customer like this. So we'll do a upgrade on the case tomorrow, and yeah, and we'll ship this out probably on Tuesday. So that will be the plan there. So yeah, a bit unfortunate, but yeah, I'll probably swap this over tomorrow morning, I think. It's not a big job. I mean, yeah, I've got to redo some cabling and stuff like that in a different case, but essentially all we're going to have to do is just unscrew the motherboard, screw it back in, plug everything back in the new case. The Windows install will be done, and yeah, we can just go from there. So it's no big deal. This is like a relatively popular case, so this will just get used for someone else's build. I mean, I could even do another one just like it, just with a motherboard that was utilizing slots 1 and 2 for the main PCIe slot, which would give us an extra like 1.5 centimeters of clearance there. In that case, it would have been fine. It would have had plenty of clearance on all sides. So, yeah, bit of a letdown, but that's why we do these tests before I send it off. So yeah, exactly. No, I'm sorry. I should know better than to do this, but sometimes I look at so many different motherboards every day that little tiny details like that can sometimes kind of slip through the cracks. So yeah, bit unfortunate we couldn't finish it off tonight, but at least we've done all of the software side of things. Changing the case doesn't mean that any of the hardware itself has to change. So everything we've installed in Windows, all the software, everything we've done here tonight, that's all fine. That doesn't have to be redone. All that we have to do is disconnect everything,
just move the physical components over into the new case, and yeah, and go from there. So I'll pick up a new case tomorrow. That won't be an issue, and then yeah, we'll go from there. Yep. Yeah, it sounds pretty good. And yeah, like, yeah, dude, you'll get it soon. I'll have it shipped off for you. This actually may solve my problem with the other computer that I need the for. So, because I can always use a case for a second-hand computer. It doesn't have to be complete or anything like that. People always want a bargain. So yeah, I'll work something out. Nah, it'll be all good. No worries. Well, yeah, I'm sorry everyone, but yeah, I'm gonna have to cut it short tonight, because there is really not, what's the point in me sort of continuing? What's the point of me continuing when I know it's not going to pass the stress test? I already had to install an extra fan in here, so I already had to do more work on it anyway, so yeah, it's not a big deal. Alrighty, well, yeah, 2 hours 51 minutes, all for nothing. Nah, not at all. Alright, well, I'll catch everyone later. Be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you all tomorrow in the next video.